Hi everybody, Tim Bartz here, Ford Video Guy, with yet another update video to the old Bronco here. I'm at the dealership because I had it actually put on here. So did not do this myself. This is a little bit above my backyard mechanic stuff. Anyway, so let me show you what we did here. So I want a little bit of extra lift here on the Bronco. Let me go out a little bit. And I actually was going to go with the Haas 2.0. I wanted more of a Sasquatch clearance to mine. There we go. I wanted a little upgrade to like a Haas 2.0 type of suspension. And so I was like, hey, let's go in. Let me talk to the guys in aftermarket, see if I can get the Bilstein upgraded shocks, what they'd cost. And he goes, if I were you, and I was going to do some off-roading like you're wanting to do, I'd maybe upgrade a little bit better. So here's what we came up with. We have a rough country dealer here, so we came up with this rough country upgraded shock with the reservoir, adjustable. Right now it's set at 4. Took it for a drive. I'm gonna change it a little bit, especially for highway driving, make it a little stiffer, but there you go. It isn't adjustable, and I said just go with the lowest setting, which I think is 1 3/4 inches. It'll go up to 2.5, so it's at like 1 3/4 inches. So I do have about an extra lift there with adjustable. So there you go. So I upgraded that for the front and rear. There we go. Can adjust that, and you can see that looks like there. And yeah, so that should upgrade and give me a really nice feel. And as that was happening, you know, I've been looking. Added those skid plates on the front, and I happened to find a used modular front bumper. So I had them put that on as well while they were at it, and looks much better on the skid plate there on the front. Now let's get that look. Now this one here, the customer had the bull bar. I'm going to take that off. I don't actually, not a fan of the bull bar, so I will be taking that off, and I will probably be getting some LED lights in here as well. And I am going to go ahead and put the hooks on there, some of those hooks on the front, so it looks real nice. So a couple upgrades I'll do there, but it does look much better. And so if you remember the front bumper I had, to get that to fit, had to cut, you see that? I had to cut the tow hook so that I had the bracket. So I didn't have to necessarily do it. They did cut that off. So you can see where they cut it right there for the tow hook. So I had to cut that off, but they do make a bracket if you want to pay for it. But I'm like, hey, it's just basically the same height for this, for that skid plate to go on. So they just cut it off and didn't charge me for that. And so yeah, pretty cool. A couple upgrades. Now I'm going to go ahead and adjust this, which I've never done before, and take it for another little drive. See how I like it. I think I'm going to set it to about 6. There, and see how it feels.
All right, so I was editing the video that you're watching right now, and realized I never finished it. I was going to take it for a drive and recap it with a video, and when I got home I got sidetracked and didn't do that part of the video. So actually, as I was telling you that I was going to adjust this, they had it at like what was it, at like 5 I think, or something, or I think it was at 4 is what I told you guys. And so I did adjust it a little bit. I got it sitting right now. Actually, I think it's the arrow. Yeah, there's the arrow back here. So it is at 6 right now. I have it 6 on the front as well as the back. You can see it actually goes up to 8. 6, you know, feels pretty good. I will say, does feel a little, I would say, squishier, almost like it bounces more than it would normally before I put on the lift and such. And so I'm going to adjust this. So those of you, probably go to 7 and see how it feels a little bit more. But I do like that it's adjustable and I can change that. Now, some of you, and I'm one of those that didn't know, what is a reservoir shock? So in the shock itself, and I am not an expert, so I'm going to try to explain this the best way that I read it and understood it, is that shock has oil in it, as well as, I believe they said, nitrogen as well. And so the oil, when the shock comes up and goes into the chamber, that oil has to go somewhere. And that's why you're limited on your normal shocks on how much you know, what kind of feel it has. And that's why it still has a rougher feel when you're going off-road, and that's why some people want to do some sort of reservoir. Now this is, some of them, the reservoir will be attached right next to it, especially on the fronts, but this one does have this here. So what happens is this here, from what I understand, most of the nitrogen is stored in here, and then that oil, when it's pushed into that, comes into this. And how you adjust it is how much and how quickly that tension, that oil, I think, goes into this chamber, and where this is adjusted for the nitrogen and giving you a different feel when you go off-road. So you want to move it to a lower number when you go off-road, so that that shock can go further up into that chamber and give you that more of a clearance. And when you hit those rough spots and everything in the road, or those rocks and such like that, and mud and all that, so you want to move it to a lower number, like, you know, 2, 3, maybe even a 1 if you're doing some serious rock crawling and you need a lot of clearance, a lot of articulation in the shocks. You would maybe even take it to a 1 if you wanted to, but most likely I'll probably give it a 2 or 3 most of the time. And then when you're on the highway and such, you wouldn't want that because it would probably bounce a lot more, and so you want to move it up to like a 6, 7, and this, I didn't realize this goes up to 8. So we probably will adjust this a little bit. And from what I understand, the front, a lot of times you want the front at a little higher number because the engine is heavier, and as well. So anyway, so there you go. So it's at 6, but that's how that kind of works and how I'm going to adjust it, and keep adjusting it until it feels right. It's real easy. You just turn these. There's 7 right there. I'll go to the other side so I don't forget. So just move these here. The number's at the top. So this one, it comes this way. So you would like, hey, wait a minute, I don't see the 7 and 8 over here. That's because, see, there you go. Now I'm on 7. It's 7 is at the top of that. And over here, it looks a little different. Kind of on the other side over here. And you can see the arrow is right here. So I'm going to keep them all the same for right now. So I'm going to adjust these all to 7s. There you go. There you go. So they're all adjusted to 7. I'll drive it some more, but this will end the video because I got a video on this. Just a quick little view. But that ends this video on this suspension. And you know, whether you like rough country or whatever brand you go with, having a reservoir, especially if you plan to do some off-roading, not a bad idea. You know, if yours is just going to be on road, that kind of stuff, you don't plan to take it off-road much, then, you know, you don't really need it, because I'll probably, you know, 90% of the time that won't get adjusted. I'll find out where I like the feel of it for highway driving and everything, and I'll leave it. But when I want to go off-road, that's going to give me a little bit better feel and everything. You know, I noticed going off-road, there were some rocky areas that was just little rocks and such. Man, people were just, you know, people ahead of me were just driving faster. So how are they driving that fast? This feels so rough to me. It's because I didn't have any kind of reservoir shocks, and they were just able to just float right through those because they were able to adjust those down lower and have more clearance for those shocks. And having a Sasquatch on the Bilstein shocks, they're already mixtured differently so that they're going to have a better clearance as well. And that's why it was different than my stock Haas 1.0 suspension. So anyway, liking them so far. The height is not a big deal, but I like the look of it, and yeah, so I'm enjoying it so far. So there you go. So whether you go with rough country, King I think is another brand, Icon, Bilstein I think even has some solutions. Again, some of those name brands, like Bilstein, like King, and some of those, they're twice as much as these are. I know there were some other reservoir ones out there that were like $5,000. This, I went on the cheaper end. These are about, I think it was like $1,200 for the part itself, or maybe a little more. Maybe it's $1,500, and then the install. So to have it installed, or unless you install it yourself, which I wasn't about to do this one. But anyway, so I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. Be looking. I got a video coming, as you saw. Because on the left, I added some help to get in. So you check for the next video, which should be coming real shortly, because it was that video that I realized that I need to do this one and finish this video out, so you knew the reason why I was putting those on. So that's beginning to be coming real shortly, within a couple days, right after this one. And then I am going to get into some Maverick stuff. Now, this channel is all about the Ford Video Guy vehicles, and I haven't really talked about the Maverick. I missed doing a video on the Lightning that I had in my experience with that. So I am going to do a video on the Maverick for this channel, on the different things I've added to the Maverick and what I have yet to do. And we're going to take the Maverick off-road eventually as well. So hopefully you guys, if you guys don't mind that footage as well. Now, the Maverick I have, some of you are like, oh, this is, you know, hey, I like your channel because it's off-road stuff and stuff for the Bronco, but the Maverick I have is a trimmer. So it is made to go off-road, has the same suspension as the Bronco Sport Badlands Edition. So we're going to test it. We're going to take it out. I'm going to take these two off-roading together, and we'll see how it does. We'll get some footage of that too. So, all right. And also let me know down description, comments, whatever it's called. I do have footage. I only did Hancock Pass, but I have some GoPro footage, and I can run through and do time-lapse footage if you want. We went Tin Cup Pass, as well as went to up to Pikes Peak even. Forgot I had that footage, as well as the American Flag Mountain. So if you want those videos, I just don't know if you guys are bored with them or not. But if you want those, I'll throw those together as well, and work on those for you too. So some different content coming, and I still need to do the IAG lights. We'll get to that. Anyway, again, we'll get to that. Had a lot of traveling. I have one more trip planned, and we're going to be driving to Moab to the Bronco off-roading, and we're going to drive there. And you know what? I might just take the Bronco just because, right? It could be good for this channel. You guys might enjoy that and seeing some of the footage. So we'll get the GoPro going, and we'll do some, of course I got the front camera, so it's always grabbing footage for me all the time. But anyway, if you guys want to see that, hopefully you guys are enjoying these videos. Make sure you subscribe, notification, all that good stuff. Thumbs up, please. I appreciate it. And until the next video, stay positive, be kind to one another, be kind to yourself. We'll see you in the next video.